Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. It is me, Desiree, and we are here today to share, or I'm here to share, my ColourPop eyeshadow palette collection with you. I recently acquired a new one. This was before my budget went into effect. And I was like, holy crap, I have more than I thought I did. Even after decluttering, like I've let go of several palettes over the last couple of years, and of course ones I really wish I still had. But I am going to share with you what I do have, as well as kind of swatch some of my favorite shades. And I am wearing a ColourPop on my eyes today that I just love. So let's get on with it. The first one I have here is the Fame palette. This is one that I just love this. I love it so much that I never use it. Do you have anything like that in your collection that you love so much you don't ever want to use it because you fear it's going to run out? But even if I use this every day, like, it's going to take forever to run out. Anyway, it's the Fame palette. I just love this. I do have a video on my channel. I think I did 2 looks zoomed in or something like that. But this one is amazing. The shade called Showboat right here is just so pretty. One of the best inner corner highlights. It's just so bright, so pretty. It's one I dip into all the time for highlight. The shade called Dazzle, like even just to swatch these, they're just so pretty. Look at that shine. This was a palette as well that when I did that video, it was I think I called it Unexpected Love, because this looks so boring. It's a really boring looking palette, but the shades are something totally unexpectedly beautiful. They have these weird shifts to them a little bit, and so pretty. Absolutely gorgeous. I wish they still had this palette. The Fame palette, I wish they still had it anyway. They also had one called Fortune, and Kitty Cat Beauty, I think, had sent that to me, and that one I just did not like at all. And I think it's because I liked this one way more, that one just could not live up to the hype of this one. So I gave that to a friend who really wanted to try it, but this one, dang, I wish they still made it because it is amazing. The next one I have here is called Yes Please, probably my least used of all of the palettes. And I have more that I haven't used a whole lot. But this one, I mean, when I first bought it, I didn't use it a whole lot. And I kept looking at it. I didn't know how to use it. The really bright shades in here I thought were a little, like, much. And I just couldn't understand how to, I don't know, make it work. The shade here called Chauffeur is so good. This one right here. It looks like an orange shimmer, but it has like yellow in it and some gold. It's really pretty, like when the sun hits it different ways or just like you're moving around. It's really, really pretty. The mattes in here are good. Shimmers are good. Like, I don't have any complaints about the palette. It's just, when I got it, I didn't know what to do with it, and it was just like a little much for me. But I still have it because the packaging that ColourPop does for their cardboard palettes is amazing. I prefer the cardboard palettes all the way. It's just not only just super cute looking, like the typography and everything they use, it's just like sleek and beautiful, and I love the cardboard packaging a lot. The next one I have here is called She. This one I don't know what it's called. It says Femme Rosa Carucci X ColourPop She. I don't know what the name of it is, but this is what it looks like. And this is one I'm always surprised that I still have it. I had one from, I can't remember her name now. Some other collaboration they did with somebody I didn't know. And I kept it for a long time, never used it. Now, of course, I still wish I had it, whatever. But anyway, I don't know why I've held on to this one, because I don't know who this person is. But the palette's fine. I never ever use it, but it's one of those things now that I'm like, sad that I got rid of the other one, so now I feel like I have to hang on to this one. Anyway, same great quality that ColourPop has. Just super, super pretty shades in here. Really beautiful. This one right here is probably my favorite one in the palette, called Mademoiselle. This one right here. It's like a taupey, mauve-y, shimmery. It's one of those shades that I want to reach for the palette just to use that shade. It's so pretty. And I know sometimes ColourPop does like overlap the shades. Like if you have one palette, if you have several palettes, you probably have a couple of overlaps, and some of them, like their singles, they sell them like that. And a lot of the time they just look the same, you know, whether they have different names or not, they look the same. Anyway, let's move on. Dream Street, another one that I could not get on board with. I don't know what it was. This is another one I can't really let go of because it's so pretty. Like the packaging is super pretty. The shades in here look pretty. I can't get this to work for me to save my life. The blue one here, I don't know. It just doesn't work for me. The one here either. Let me swatch that blue one just so you could see. Well, I said I was going to swatch my favorite shades. That's not my favorite shade. Like, look at it. It's so hard to use. Anyway, the shades on here on the back, this one is really pretty. This one right here, it's so shiny. Reminds me of this Burberry shade I used to have called something. Really disappointing shade anyway. But this is what I always wanted it to be, like a shiny kind of, I don't know, really pretty shade. What else in here is really good? I think that's kind of it. I don't know. This one, ColourPop's done a lot better than this ever since this came out. It's definitely not one of my favorites. I don't know why I still have it. Okay, now all the rest, other than the one I'm going to show you that I'm wearing today, can you guess which palette I'm wearing today? Any guesses? It's going to be the last one I show. The rest of them are these plastic palettes. I have Aura and Out. This is the newest one to me. This is what it looks like. So this did have a glitter shade in it, actually. Let me show you really quickly. It had one of these. Was it this white one, maybe, that was in here? I absolutely hate the pressed glitter eyeshadows with all of my heart. So that one is no longer in here. I took it out and replaced it with something else. Which one it was now, I don't know. Was it this one, maybe? Either way, this is the palette I have now. And this one is super pastel. It does have a Super Shock shade in it, which I don't like when they put the Super Shock shades in here. It feels cool to press on it and stuff, but it's not a shade I ever want to like keep in there forever. This one's not my favorite so far. There is a shade in here called Healing Heart that's really, really pretty. This one right here. That's probably my favorite shade out of the palette. It's this one right here. This really pretty green shimmer. And the mattes in here are really pretty, especially even the one I added in that I don't know which one it is now. But the Super Shock I don't love. It's just kind of a blah shade. I don't want to say it's a regretful purchase, but it's not my favorite of the ColourPop palettes. I got Orange You Glad. A lot of these I haven't even taken the mirror thing off. I don't know why. But this one I like too. But I love the monochromatic palettes that they have, but I feel like a lot of the time they're one-trick ponies. I gotta get out of that mindset of thinking you can only create one kind of look with this. Because there's so much you can do with a palette like this, even though the color scheme is kind of one general color family. The shade in the middle called Clementine, that yellow, is so pretty. It's like a dark mustard. It's super pretty. Because even in the pen, it looks really bright, but on your eyes, it goes off kind of dark. And I love it. It's super, super pretty. The shade called Squeeze Me too, right here. Really, really gorgeous, this one up here. I absolutely love that one. Now that I am talking about this palette, there was a glitter in this palette too. And I kind of feel like it was Clementine. Or was it Squeeze Me? I replaced the glitter in here and I don't know which one it was now. Because I probably could have, I might have swatched one of the shades that actually didn't come in the palette. I don't know, sorry. Next up is another new one to me, Going Coconuts. I kept hearing people talk about this and how pretty it was and how much they loved it. I can't remember who mentioned it recently in a favorites video. Who was it? Or someone left a comment on my video saying they were using this lately. Who was it? Anyway, talked me into it. So I went and bought it, and it's really, really pretty. It's a really nice, cool-toned, neutral palette, and I like it. The shade here called De Coco, and there's one called Cocoa Crush that are so gorgeous. They have very different formulas. Like the one called De Coco, the darker one, feels a little thick, and the one here called, what did I say it was called? Cocoa Crush, a lot more smooth, like ColourPop's normal shimmer formula. But this one here, a little thick, but it's really pretty. It sticks on your lid really nicely. And this palette too was another one, just like the Fame palette, that was really surprising to me because I wasn't thinking it was going to be amazing. But ColourPop has this way of making their shimmer shades do something very special, because it looks really blah in the pan at first, but then once you put them on, it's like, holy crap, this is amazing and beautiful and lovely. ColourPop knows what they're doing with their eyeshadow formula. They know what they're doing. Next up is Blue Moon. Definitely the best blue eyeshadow formula I've ever used in my life. I don't think I heard anybody say one bad thing about this palette. Another one though that I look at as a one-trick pony, which I got to get out of that mindset. There's a lot more you could do with it. But I think, you know, that's just where my mind goes. But this one too, oh my gosh, so beautiful. The shade called Tide Pool. It's a shade I want to go to the palette just to use it. It's like this super pretty cornflower blue. Another one of those shimmers that ColourPop does. And the shimmers that they do, when you put them on, like they start looking metallic, but they don't feel that way. They don't have that like thick, oily feeling. They feel like a regular shimmer formula. Oh my God, they're so pretty. The shade called Starry Eyed, another one of the shimmers in here. Super easy to blend. This is one of the best blue formulas I've ever used, if not the best. I think it is the best. Super beautiful. I love this one. Definitely don't use it enough because I feel like when I wear blue eyeshadow that I have to use a lot of eye drops throughout the day because it brings out every little bit of red in my face and eye area. So I'm always with the eye drops. Same thing with this one called Main Squeeze. This is one that I wore a lot at first, and then I found it would travel around. Like I would find red like all the way down here. And I don't know if it was just like fallout I didn't clean up that I ended up smearing throughout the day. But it was a horrible experience. So I don't reach for it that much because I feel like it's going to go everywhere for some reason. But there's a shade in here called Juicy Fruit that is so crazy pretty. I'm going to swatch it for you. In the pan, it just looks gold. But when you look at it, it has like, okay, I don't want to call it duochrome or a shift because I said that one time and someone left me a big old comment on how wrong I was to call it duochrome. Anyway, this is what it looks like. It kind of changes when you move it around like this. It has this really pretty like pink tone to it. It's so pretty. This is one of those ones I want to use the palette just to use that shade. Although the rest of the palette makes me kind of nervous. But I really like the monochromatic things they do. Another severely underused one is Smoke Show. This is the one that I didn't take the plastic off either. The one that looks like this. And I remember when this came out, they were teasing pictures of it, but it was in black and white. And I thought it was just a black and white thing, but it actually was like a black and gray kind of palette. This one's severely underused. I used this for New Year's Eve one year, and that's it. Didn't know what to do with it. A lot of the time, like these dark shades just aren't something I know how to use. I don't really know how to use black that much. But there's one shade in here I want to swatch for you called Starstruck. It's one of the ones I used that night, and I remember it very vividly because there was fallout everywhere. Flaky, shimmer, silver fallout everywhere, but the swatch is so good, I have to swatch it for you. Look at it. It's just like aluminum foil. Oh my gosh, I need to start using this one more. Because that was the only time I used it, the one time, and I gave up on it, and I was like, oh no, this palette sucks. But now I'm swatching it, and I'm like, hold on. This one here too, called Full Metal? Look how pretty that is. Ooh. Okay, let's move on. This is the one called It's My Pleasure. This one has one of my favorite ColourPop shades of all time in it. Which gets me thinking that, you know, yeah, there are some overlap, especially if you buy a lot of their singles or you have a lot of their palettes. I gotta clean my fingers off real quick. You're gonna have some overlap. And this one has Mr. Sandman, which is one of the best shades that they've ever done. It's that one right there. It's so pretty. Anyway, this is what the palette looks like. What I say it was called It's My Pleasure. Really pretty purpley palette with a few pinks in there. A lot of stuff really to balance out a purple look. It's not just, you know, a gradient of purples, which I think would be really boring. And I remember when this palette came out, I kept hearing from a couple of people online, of course, that this palette wasn't purple enough. But I feel like if it was 9 purple shades, people would have had something to complain about then too. I think the palette's very well done. It's very well balanced. It's super pretty. A lot of stuff to complement purple and pinky kind of tones. Oh my gosh. This shade, Mr. Sandman. There's something about it. I don't know why I love it so much. It's just a really pretty shimmer that has this really nice, like, glossy, glassy look to it. It's one that I want to use all the time that I definitely don't use enough. I do have it in a single, though, so I don't reach for this palette just to use that. But super pretty. Love that one. And the last one I have in the plastic little series they're doing is called Just My Luck. Love this one as well. This one's so pretty. Another one, though, that I have a single. I have that shade Mary Jane right there. I actually have it in that palette I showed earlier in my shopping my stash. Oh, no, that's not it. It's some other palette I have. Those two look exactly the same. It's in here. Singles I'm currently rotating. This one right here called Mary Jane. That's the shade that's in this palette. I love that shade so much. And I didn't realize I had two of them until I was going to do this video and I was opening all the palettes. I was like, hold on. I have that in a full size. Anyway, this palette is super, super pretty as well. I love that they went a little more like with the deeper tones of green in this one and not just bright fluorescent greens all around. This is super versatile, super pretty. I will swatch Mary Jane. And then the one called All of You. This one, I definitely don't use that one enough. I'm sweating. It's here. I'm trying not to dab off my sweat with my swatches. Anyway, the shade called All of You, look at that. It's so good. ColourPop knows what they are doing with these shimmer shades. They're so pretty. Look at that. Oh, look how nice my hand looks. Anyway, those are two standout shades from in here. I don't know if they make these palettes. Are these permanent? The one thing I noticed with ColourPop, especially the palette I'm going to show you next, I feel like they cycle through the palettes too quickly. And then they're constantly releasing another one, another one, another one. And as much as I like it and they put out a new collection like that, the Garden Variety that's out right now, I want it so badly. But wanting that so badly made me go through the other ColourPop shadows I already have and kind of like reappreciate them. I want it. I want it so bad. Anyway, I feel like they cycle through them a little quickly. And then if you really wanted it and you're like, wait, I gotta wait till payday or whatever, it's gone by then. It's gone. You gotta buy it online from someone that jacked the price up like crazy. So I wish they would keep stuff around a little longer, especially because they know their audience. They know that people that buy ColourPop are like collecting ColourPop, that want all of the things. So I wish they had a little more stock. They kept it in stock a little longer. Anyway, this is the last palette I'm gonna talk about, the So Jaded. This is one of the ones that I feel like they should keep permanently. Oddly enough, this probably was my most underused ColourPop palette. I did do a video where I talked about my neglected makeup and I used this palette in that video. And even then I was like, I don't know, like this palette to me is just like, it's too much, you know, like there's too many shades in here. I don't know what to do with it. And the other day I pulled it out because I was looking for something to use because I'm trying to put in one of my singles every day. And I was looking for something to use Urban Decay Sin with. Not Sin, I'm sorry. Lounge. This one right here. It's like a duochrome. I think I'm safe to say it's duochrome, right? No one's going to yell at me. It's like one of those red, brown, green, blue weird shades that I used to hate and now I'm in love with. And I had used that shade all over the lid and I really hated the way that it looked. So I was looking for some other shades to kind of balance it out and help it work. So I reached for this palette just for fun and I knew it had a lot of variety. I have used this every single day this week. This palette exclusively. It's what I have in my eyes today. This palette is amazing. Amazing. It's the combinations are limitless in this palette. You could do everything as a single eyeshadow. Everything really like, it's kind of all over the place and it was overwhelming for me when I got it because I was like, what the heck do I do with this? But then jkissa had done a video a while back on like how to use a difficult palette and she recommended doing different quads. Like these four here is one quad, these four here one quad. You know where I'm going with this, right? These four here is one quad. And that's what I've been doing with this palette and I have been just dying. Every day I cannot wait to use it. I'm like, holy crap, what do I get to do with this today? And if you're looking at this and thinking, why does my palette look different than yours? It's because I took the glitters out. It had two pressed glitters right here and right here. Hated those so much. They're in a separate palette that I'm going to be selling on Poshmark. I replaced it with two other shadows that just fit the pan size in here. I think they were ColourPop singles that I had. I don't know. Either way, I took out the glitters. It's that one and that one. Those are replacements. But other than that, the rest is the regular palette. This is amazing. I wish they would keep this permanently. Now that I love it so much, I'm like, bring it back. I want everyone to have it. But anyway, what I put on my eyes today was the shade called Geodude all over the lid. I got the shade here called Jade in the crease. The shade called Citrine outside here just for some yellow on the outer part of my eye. And then the shade called Peridot all over the lid. And that's it. It came together super quickly. And it is... I love this palette. I love it so much. This palette is like what made me want to do the video. I was like, I gotta talk about that palette. Anyway, they do a lot of shades just like this, like these shimmery green yellow shades. Like you can see 3 of them here in my hand. So that kind of, you know, they do have some overlaps for sure, even though they put different names on them. If you have a bunch of palettes, you have a bunch of the same kind of shades. Love this so much. And that is it before I sweat to death in this room. I'm gonna let you go. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know what other ColourPop things you have. Now that I did this, I was like, dang, I wish I still had all the other ColourPop palettes I used to have, but oh well. C'est la vie. I have literally over 100 other palettes to look at. But anyway, that is it. Thanks for watching this video. I will see you later in another one. Goodbye.